Join the Bhakti podcast with deep insights into all matters spiritual. Like and subscribe to keep up to date with your inner self.
And the translation again, Arjuna inquired, "O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the self? What are fruitive activities? And what is his material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me." These are some very important questions, which we had come across in previous chapter. We come across these questions all the time, but here Arjuna wants Krishna once and for all to explain things with a definite answer. Let's start off. What is Brahman? That's a good starting point. What is Brahman? Okay, Amit, what is Brahman? Are you there, Amit?
Yes, Prabhu. I mean, Brahman is the highest state of soul to be in.
Where you get that from?
I don't know, Prabhu. I think that's just what I kind of observed.
Is that the highest state of achievement? Are you saying that?
Yeah.
Okay, Ben, what do you think?
It's the highest state your mind is to be in. Yeah, not achievement, but highest state.
Okay.
Haribo?
Ben, yes, we can hear you.
Oh, can hear me? Okay.
What is Brahman?
Brahman is a form of Krishna. It's his as far as I'm aware, it's the light that comes from his body. It's said to be the light is coming from his toenails, and it permeates from there everywhere. So that spiritual energy is coming from Krishna, but is simultaneously there, but is everywhere. It's like the all-pervasive aspect of God. When, like, for instance, on a transcendentalist or a devotee, they, after a long time of practicing spiritual disciplines, they can actually get to a stage where they get free from the modes of ignorance, passion, and goodness. They come to what is called the Suddha Sattva platform, the Vasudev state. And in that state, they've actually achieved Brahman. The verse in the Gita that says, Brahmabhuta Prasanatma. When someone achieves that state, they experience boundless joy and happiness. So it's an aspect of Krishna, but it's not the whole aspect. It's only one feature of the Lord.
That was a nice explanation. Thank you. Well, if it's one aspect of the Lord, and it is, and it's not even the highest aspect, it's a preliminary aspect. So we couldn't say it's the ultimate achievement. It's the beginning achievement of our spiritual journey. So example, we have explained it several times. The train in the American Wild West coming into the station, the tracks have been laid, Nobody ever has seen a train at that time. And the announcement is there, the train will come at 12 o'clock, will come to the station. Little settlement of some farmers and some ranchers. And everybody flocks to the station. And they speculate, what's a train? I've never seen. Let's see, what is it? And then from far they could see some light approaching. Oh, the train is some light. Some, after seeing this, they're leaving. And they're going home, and whoever is at home, they're asking, so what's a train? What's a train? A train is a big light in the distance. That is the train. So similarly, Brahman realization, it's that light, that preliminary realization. Others who stay at the station a bit longer. The train comes closer, they see some shape. It's not just a light, but it's light. Certainly it is light. And there is a shape to it. They see some black shape of the locomotive. And then they think, I know what is a train. It is a light and some black shape. And they're also going home and being questioned by their family members. They're saying a train is a light and some black shape around her. And the others who stay until the end, the train comes in, it certainly is a light from a distance, it is a shape from a distance, and once a train comes into the station, welcome return, Prabhu. Once the train comes into the station, there is more than light, there is more than shape, there are activities. People coming out of the train with their suitcases, others going into the train, and so much luggage is going forth and back and is bustling with many people and chatting and speaking. And so that is a train with some light and some shape. And people are in the train and going in and out, a lot of activities. And when they explain at home what they have seen, that is a complete answer. Likewise, we can say, so from a distance, it looks like Krishna is the Brahman. There are many people who are totally convinced Krishna is Brahman. Only, nothing else. I've spoken with people. They think there's nothing more to it. Krishna is Brahman. God is Brahman. A bright light. And we want to merge into that light. That's moksha. Liberation. They're convinced of this. But as devotees, we know better. That is just the preliminary stage of realization, the Brahman. After Brahman, there's a higher realization, which is Param Atma, which is a shape. It's a shape of the Vishnu Murti of the Lord within the heart. That's a yogic principle. By meditation, yogis trying to see that Param Atma within the heart. Four-handed Vishnu form. That is Param Atma. That is a shape. So trying to realize that shape. So don't try to realize only that bright light, that all-pervading impersonal Brahman, but then it becomes very personal. So Paramatma is very personal. It's a personalized form, Vishnu form, with four hands, bluish complexion, with conch and club and lotus and chakra. So that's very personalized form. The yogi is trying to realize that form. And devotees, they're going even one step further. They're praying like in the Isopanishad mantra. And Rituan Prabhu, he's just studying the Isopanishad. Still, or you finish Isopanishad, Rituan? I think he's still studying the Isopanishad. And in the Isopanishad, the devotee is praying, "Oh, my dear Lord Krishna, please withdraw this Brahman curtain of light. Withdraw. Say, because I want to see a beautiful personal form behind that curtain of light. So that light is just a curtain, so to speak. Like when we going in a theater, there is a curtain. Then people waiting. When will that curtain open that I can see the actor or actors? So in the same way, devotee prays, I don't want to be blinded by the bright light, and as Ben has, of course, said, it is Krishna's effulgence reflecting from his toenails. So the lowest part of Krishna's body, not even reflecting from his beautiful lotus face, from his toenails. So that indicates it is quite insignificant. Of course, the Brahman is not insignificant, but there's so much more than the Brahman. There's a Paramatma, a personal Vishnumurti in everyone's heart. And there is a Bhagavan feature. It's a complete, and Ben mentions that, complete personality of Godhead. Complete, full realization. If someone realizes this Bhagavan feature, and for devotees, it's not very difficult. We all the time we hear about Bhagavan, we read the Srimad Bhagavatam with all those pastimes of Krishna, particular 10th canto, and Krishna book also. We have all these pastimes of Krishna. These are all the activities. If we relate that back to the example of the train, these are the people going into the train, coming out, and luggage, and so much bustling, and so many activities. That's a Bhagavan feature. That's a spiritual world. So many things are happening in the spiritual world. Some people have this concept that the spiritual world is just all impersonal. We know how they come to this concept. The spiritual world is all impersonal. Because here in this material world, everything is very personal. The personal neighbors, personal relationships, we have persons as family members. Nothing is impersonal, except perhaps our stupid, impersonal behavior towards us. But otherwise, everything is very personal. So the spiritual world, which seems to be just the opposite of everything here, so it must be impersonal. That is people's wrong conception. Thinking here everything personal, spiritual world, everything impersonal. No, that's not the case. That's a poor font of knowledge. No, very personal, supremely personal in the spiritual world. Krishna is relating with everyone perfectly, according to our desires, how we want to relate to Krishna. We want to relate to Krishna as a servant, yes, okay. Then Krishna will be the master, will be the servant. Like Lord Ram and Hanuman. We want to relate Krishna as a friend. Okay, then Krishna is a supreme friend, and we are his sakas, with cowherd boys. We want to relate to Krishna as father and mother. Yes, then we are the elderly gopas and gopis. And Krishna will relate to us in a parental mood. We want to be lovers of Krishna, then we are the gopis and relating in mutual affection, in madhurya, in this type of affection with Krishna. As we want, we can relate to Krishna, and Krishna will perfectly reciprocate. This is a complete picture of the spiritual world. So Brahman is very real, but it is partial. So it's very often devotees on the search for spiritual knowledge, they first come across the Brahman feature. And it's very impressive. We have spoken many times on this topic, because at the beginning, when they hear, well, the Brahman, of course, is eternal. It's an eternity aspect. But again, it's only an aspect of Krishna. And it's an eternity aspect. When people first time they hear about the eternity aspect and Brahman effulgence and all-pervading, yes, Brahman is all-pervading. How is Brahman all-pervading? Because Brahman is, in the spiritual world, all the planets resting on Brahman, but also here in the material world, everything resting on this Brahman, Brahma Jyoti. That's the underlying principle, the Lord's energy, like the sunshine. Sometimes some speculating, and they're saying, no, Krishna's personal form is coming from this Brahman. The Brahman is the ultimate reality. And from this Brahman, Krishna's form manifests. That is like saying, the sunshine is everything. And from the sunshine, the sun is manifesting. It sounds ridiculous when we take this example. The sun is manifesting by the sunshine. No, it's the other way around. The sun is there, and from the sun, the sunshine is manifesting. So same way, Krishna is the ultimate reality, and from him this Brahman is manifested. And then those who are not only attracted by that Brahman, and there's nothing wrong of being attracted by that Brahman, and understanding and trying to understand that Brahman, but if one thinks the Brahman is, there's nothing beyond that Brahman, then one's opportunity of spiritual emancipation are seriously limited. It's Srila Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavad Gītā purport, and I've mentioned that many times, the impersonal realization, which is exactly that Brahman realization, impersonal realization, can be helpful to a point. To a point. Well, what's that point? Srila Prabhupada spells it out. Until one meets a pure devotee. If one doesn't meet a pure devotee, and meeting means physically or through sound, if one doesn't meet a pure devotee, then one may be stuck in this Brahman for many births. So one has to go higher. One is not permitted to go enter the spiritual world on that level of realization. That's not enough. It's just like we are an imperson in wanting to relate in the spiritual world, going in an environment where everything is personal. And we have that concept, everything is impersonal. We're denying all the personal aspects of Krishna. And not only Krishna, all the inhabitants of Goloka Vrindavan, the inhabitants of the spiritual world, or in Vaikuntha, they're all personal manifestations. Some go even further. They're saying all this, what we hear in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna book, all the Krishna's pastimes, they're manifestations of the material energy. These are called Mayavadis, because they're basically saying Krishna is a personification of Maya. Brahman is absolute, but Krishna, his pastimes and all that, these are all a manifestation of Maya. Of course, that is not the case, but therefore they are called Mayavadis, and they're classed as offenders. And Krishna says they will be cast in the darkest region of ignorance. Why are they offenders? Because they say Krishna cannot eat, Krishna cannot see, Krishna cannot hear, Krishna cannot taste, Krishna cannot walk, cannot speak. If someone tells you that, you cannot speak, you cannot hear, you cannot see, you cannot taste, then they're basically saying you are blind, deaf and dumb, you would be very much insulted. So it's an offense to say Krishna is like that, because he isn't like that. So that's a Brahman. And the next level is a Paramatma, the personal manifestation of Krishna as a Vishnu Murti in the heart of all living entities. So we already explained that it becomes very personal. Very personal. And after that, Paramatma, where the yogis aspire for many, many lifetimes in meditation. In meditation, they're trying to achieve that darshan of the Paramatma. And if they're successful, they will achieve that. And if we go further, then we come to the Bhagavan feature. Bhaga means opulences, because Krishna is not just some homogeneous energy or Brahman. He has opulences. So many opulences, 5 opulences. He is the richest, the most knowledgeable, the most renounced, the most beautiful, and the most famous. These are opulences of Krishna. Why are these opulences in this material world attractive? If someone is very famous, some famous personality comes to Leicester, oh, hundreds, thousands of people will be there, city center. Or if someone very rich, Elon Musk, comes to Leicester, will be in the papers everywhere and people will flock. Or someone very renounced, a yogi, who was in Eden for 6 months. He comes, and also very many people feel attracted, and so on. Or a very rich person, yeah, we had that. Why these opulences are so attractive, and people try to get one of these opulences? They're trying to become rich, they're trying to become famous, have 10 million followers on Facebook. Oh, you're famous. Superstar. Or they're trying to become very renounced or very beautiful. The whole industry is built around beauty. Oh, so many creams and so many injections just to make his body and his face look beautiful. Why we have that tendency? Because these are Krishna's opulences. And Krishna, the very word Krishna means all attractive. So Krishna is all attractive, so his opulences are also attractive. Very attractive. The whole world is possessing one or the other of these opulences. They want to. So attractive, these opulences. So these Krishna's opulences, how can we say ultimately Krishna is impersonal? No, he has opulences. So many opulences. He can eat. Why are we offering the food to Krishna every Saturday? It's just a ritual? No, Krishna eats. He eats with his eyes, he eats with his ears. It's described. Krishna's senses are interchangeable. He can perform any act of the senses with any other senses. He's not limited, like we can only eat with our mouth and our tongue. Krishna can eat with his eyes and ears. No problem. So many descriptions there. So that's Krishna, opulences. So let's go a step further. Srila Prabhupada has a rather short purport to that verse, because these topics have all been discussed, perhaps not in one verse, but they have been discussed. So what is the self? Okay, let's ask that question again, Amit. What is the self? What would you say? The definition. Arjuna is asking on behalf of all of us. And Krishna will be answering in the next verses. What is the self?
Probably the self is the real you, without any attachments, sensory and any attachments, so any bodily attachments. It's the real person or soul inside
That's
you.
nice. That's nice. The soul, the real person. I like that. The real person. The self is not most people that think the self is his body. They're identifying themselves with his body. Right? That's what they do. And any extension of this body, with family, with community, with country, with species, so they're identifying themselves in social terms, all related to this body. Ethnic identity. It's identity, really. That's what it is, identity. I have my professional identity. I have my social and family identity. On Facebook, we have everybody claims some identity with some avatars and some pictures and this and that. That's me. Identifying myself. That's me. Or some other people, they put some impersonal symbol as that's me. Just a bit of nature or a bit of sky or something. But most people, they put some personal representation. That's me. So bodily identification. That's not me. That's not me. I am in this body. I am, as you said, I'm the soul within this body. That is my real identity. Then what? Okay, no, let's say Rituan. Are you here, Rituan? Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes. What would you say? What is our, in a Sanskrit short verse, what's our identity, spiritual identity?
Prabhuji, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said that one, that Jiver Swarupa Krishna Nityadas.
That's exactly what I'm thinking of. What does it mean?
That the real constitutional position of a living entity is we are the servant of Lord, the Supreme Lord Krishna.
Yes, eternal servant of Krishna. That's a very different identity than most people think I'm the servant of my family. Right? That's the ordinary people think I'm the servant of my family. I'm the husband or I'm the wife. That's my identity. I'm the servant of the family. Some others think I'm the servant of my country. Ah, UK, patriot. Why so many people declaring I'm a patriot? If in America you don't say I'm a patriot, they almost kill you. I'm a patriot. Oh, one has to, that mantra you have to repeat. Here in the UK also. What, you're not patriotic? What are you doing here? Go away. No, they're identifying with the country. I'm a servant of this country. And when the time for war comes, dutifully, I'm marching on the battlefield in the front line and give my body for my country. That's very patriotic. What a sacrifice. Sacrificing my body for the good of the country. Patriotic duty. And some others going a little bit further. Or even a step before, I'm a servant of my community. Oh, lots of people doing community work. From the Indian background, there is this Samaj and that Samaj and Aryan Samaj and this and that. So many community centers with all kinds of names. When you drive through Leicester, you have on every second corner you have a community center because there are many communities. But this is all bodily identification, extended bodily identification. And then country, and then human. I'm a philanthropist. I'm working for the good of all humans. Right? For all humans, big, people declaring, I'm a philanthropist. Give me some respect, because I'm a philanthropist. I'm working for all you. I have accumulated so much money in my life. Now I give a very small portion, I give it away for humanitarian purposes, which is good, but that's not the highest. What is above a humanist, Ben? And why?
I mean, I don't know, and in the way you speak it, you could say it is like a soulist.
What?
Well, I mean, from a Krishna conscious
Yes.
perspective, that if you're only aware of the body and only offering help to the body, I mean, that's one thing. I mean, it's still important, but you're missing the point about the eternal nature of the soul. So I think there's an example that Prabhupada said, when you save someone from drowning, you don't save the shirt and the coat,
Yeah.
It's when you have like a deeper spiritual understanding, you realize that all these bodily designations and attachments and everything, they're all temporary, and the real business of anyone is to focus on discovering who they truly are, and according to Bhagavad Gītā, according to Krishna, we're eternal servants of the Lord. So, and we are of the same nature as Krishna, and it states that Krishna is his body comprises of Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. That's his form. Is eternal. Is full of knowledge and full of bliss, and likewise, the individual soul, who we are of the same nature and the same quality as Krishna as well. But obviously, due to contact with the material energy, we become forgetful of that. So, here we are. We're trying to remember who we really are. So, in that sense. So.
Yes, very nice. That's the self. If anybody ever asks you what is a self, then you should remember this one verse. Nitya Krishna Das. Nitya means eternal. Krishna is Krishna, and Das is servant. Eternal servant of Krishna. Not eternal servant of my family. You said they're all temporary. Yes, they are temporary. This lifetime, one family. And even people have 2, 3 families in this lifetime, because they get divorced and they're starting a new family, and they're getting again divorced and starting a new family, and then they have a set of children from 3 different families and all of that. So that is not eternal. And latest, that's the time of death, even if they have one family. So next lifetime is a different family. There's a very interesting story, and Ritu and Prabhu, help me out with Citraketu. Remember that story with Citraketu, where was a king, he was a king, who had desired a son. They had no heir. That was very important for them, to have a son. And then they were eventually blessed with a son, but they said, this son will bring great joy to you, but also great sorrow. Ritu, can you complete that story?
Yes, Prabhuji, that's in Bhagavatam.
Yes.
That So what happened? So he was blessed with a son from one of his queens, and the other queens got envious and jealous, and they poisoned that small child, and the child died, and basically killed the child, murdered the child. And so I mean, the child's name of the child was Harsha Shok, means like on one hand he is going to give pleasure, on the other hand is going to give sad sorrow.
What was his name?
Harsha Shok. Harsha Shok is a Sanskrit word which means Harsh means pleasure and Shok means sadness.
Shok, yes.
Shok.
Or Shok.
Yeah.
Harsha Shok.
Harsha Shok. Harsha means pleasure, and Shok is just the opposite.
Okay, carry on.
So when so basically the child died, and then ultimately the king was so morose that he lost the child, and all the other then the other wives also repented for their actions. So this king basically then he became what I remember. Then he became then he left the kingdom, and he used to go to different places to associate with devotees. So this Maharaj Citraketu ultimately went to a place where Lord Shiva was Lord Shiva was Lord Shiva was preaching, basically discussing about Lord Krishna, Bhagavad Gītā with other sages. And at that time, Lord Shiva's wife Parvati was sitting on his lap. Prabhuji, do you want this? You wanted me to?
No, I don't want this.
Not this one.
This
not this one.
branch of the story. I want the branch of the story where he was actually lamenting so much that the child was dead, and they had so much attachment, and now it was all taken apart. So Narada Muni, I believe so, he appeared, and he said, okay, child, come back. You're bringing so much sorrow to your parents. And the child came back into their body, was lying right in front of them. And they were astounded. And they said, oh, dear child, your parents, do you recognize your parents? And the child said, which parents? I have had so many parents in the past. Which parents are you? So, because he has been already on the other side, so which parents? So I just wanted that part of the story to get us a clear picture. Which parents? We have a different set of parents in the next lifetime, and in the next lifetime, and millions of lifetimes, different set of parents, different passports, different nationalities, different skin colors, different species, even if we are not careful of coming back in the human form of life. Huh? So that's what Ben said. These things are not eternal. So our real identity, as Ritwan Prabhu has said before, Nitya Krishna Das. Remember that, Nitya, eternal Krishna, and Das, servant. Eternal servants of Krishna. That's our real identity. Not any of the bodily identities. So let's go. What's Brahman? What is the self? That's the self. How many people know who they are? Very few people know who they really are. They're coming up with so many different explanations. Rituan Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, as you mentioned, this story is very similar to the story, to the pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the death of Srivas Thakur's son, isn't it, Prabhuji? Yeah, very similar. And more or less the philosophy that was spoken by the dead child in both these cases were similar.
Yes. Except when Srivas Thakur's son came back, he didn't ask, which parents are you?
Yeah,
Did
he
he?
says that it's all because of it's all planned out by you. And I know the time I was supposed to stay here. I came here as a son of your devotees Srivash and Malini Devi, and now the time is up, and I'm going now.
That's it.
And he went. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Ben?
Um, I've always wondered because in the Bhagavad Gītā, I think there's a verse that says that the soul, it gives the dimensions of the soul, and then it states that it's like a microscopic particle, 10,000 of a tip of a hair. That's the dimensions of the soul. And then how do you get from that to having a spiritual form, like a spiritual body?
Yes, interesting question, huh? We're speaking about the size, how to... The spiritual form, we're developing that in this lifetime, and we have to develop it at one point, more and more and more, what kind of spiritual personality we are or want to be. That soul as a microscopic, as a tip of 10,000th part of a tip of a hair, that is there to give us some idea of the size of the insignificant size. We are insignificant. We are utterly insignificant in the scheme of the entire creation. We are insignificant. Even the human species is insignificant. Even this earthly planet is insignificant. There's a nice story when I think it was Krishna Maharaj. He became a little bit proud of his position as a temple president in New York. So Srila Prabhupada explained to him, there are so many universes, innumerable universes, and one of these universes is our universe. And in this universe there are so many galaxies, and one of these galaxies is our galaxies. And within that galaxy there are so many planets, innumerable planets, and one of these planets is insignificant little planet Earth. And on this little earthly planet there's so many continents, and one of those continents is America. In America are so many cities, and one of those cities is New York. And in New York there are living so many people, so many houses, so many buildings, and one of these places is a Hare Krishna temple in New York. And in this Hare Krishna temple in New York, there are quite a good number of devotees. And one of them thinks, I am so important. That puts things in perspective, that we cannot become proud of who we are, what position we have. We are tiny, insignificant. So this 10,000th part of a tip of a hair, that gives us a little idea how small we are. The soul is described as small, in other places as well, very small, because sometimes some materialistic scientists are trying to discover the soul by microscope, by surgery. Where is the soul? It's in the heart. We haven't seen the soul. It's so small. And also, it's giving us some idea. Such a small, powerful powerhouse who powers the whole body, who spreads consciousness all over the body. This soul is responsible for spreading consciousness in every part of the body. This small little soul. Without the soul, if the soul is gone, there's no consciousness. Dead body. The soul is responsible for consciousness in the toe, in the fingers, in every part of our body, in even internal organs. We can feel some pain sometimes and this and that. That's all consciousness emanating from the soul. It's a manifestation. In fact, it is said consciousness is a manifestation of the soul. We can deduct by consciousness that if the consciousness is there, there must be a soul. In animal species, in plant species, if there is consciousness, there must be a soul. So that is this type of explanation, the 10,000th tip of a spiritual body. That is much later we develop that spiritual body. The spiritual body doesn't speak about size, really. The spiritual body, all description we have of the spiritual body speaks about relationship with Krishna, because in our spiritual body we are Nitya Krishna Das. So I have never read or heard even once about the size of the spiritual body. Nonetheless, the spiritual body in the spiritual world is just like Krishna's Saka friends, like the gopis, 2 hands, 2 feet, and head, and all of that. So, all like in the Bible, where God at the beginning said, I've created man in my image. So, if man has 2 legs and 2 hands and arms, then if that man is an image of God, then God must also have 2 legs, 2 hands, 2 arms, head, and so on, and so on. In my image. So we are little images of Krishna. Not only, as Ben explained, in that we are Satchidananda, we are eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss and happiness. That is also, we are image of God like that, but we are also image of God in this human form of life, in our bodily form. Therefore Krishna when he comes once in the day of Brahma, after millions and millions of years, he comes in a human-like form. Of course, he comes in other forms as well. He comes in the form of a fish, of a tortoise, of a half lion, half man. There are many other forms. Matsya, Kurma, Avatar, and so on. So, these descriptions of the spiritual world are exclusively about relationship. Different relationship. Because if we say Nitya Krishna Das, we are eternal servants of Krishna. So what type of servants are we? There's so many different types of servants. None is identical with the other, like in our material lives. Non-family with children and parents are exactly a copy of another family. Every family is different. Every individual is different, with different features, with different temperaments, with different skin color, with different eyes and eyebrows, and therefore they're making this eye scans as an identity on the newer phones. Okay, you look into the camera lens and they're identifying you. Why? Because the eyes are unique. No people have the same eyes. So we all have different bodily features. In the spiritual world, Goloka, Vaikuntha, none is exactly a replica of someone else. All the different innumerable sakas and gopis, they have a particular mood and service in relation to Krishna. And Krishna can accommodate all of them simultaneously in one go. You can relate to all of them, like in Dwarka, when Krishna married 16,108 queens, he related to them all individually and differently. That is Krishna. And Narada Muni visited the palaces, and he thought maybe Krishna, when he's talking to one queen in one palace, he's also talking to his queen in another palace. No, he wasn't. He's talking with his queen in one palace. In another palace, he was sitting in the garden. In another palace, he was preparing some meal or something. All different activities independently. Just like when Krishna expanded himself into the cowherd boys and the cows in the Brahma Vimohana Lila, the bewilderment of Brahma. Then all these cowherd boys had different features, different temperaments, all completely individual. And Krishna was all of them. He expanded himself in all of them, exactly in those features. So that is mainly what we're hearing about the spiritual body. Mainly, spiritual body relates to our form in the spiritual world. Nevertheless, we can develop our spiritual body even while being here. When we come in the domain of Raga Bhakti or Raga Nuga Bhakti or spontaneous devotional service, when our meditation is on our service in the spiritual world, in Vaikuntha or in Goloka. So that meditation. So in this way, we're developing our relationship already with Krishna in the spiritual world. That means we're developing our spiritual body, how we want to serve Krishna once we're on the other side, once we're out of this material creation. Does that answer your question, Ben? Or something still missing? You muted? Okay.
You know how you say that like if the devotees like progressing, they get into like higher levels of on the path of bhakti, they're progressing, and they're beginning to like meditate on some ras in Goloka Vrindavan. I was just wondering if a devotee, if you didn't kind of get to that level, what kind of happens to the devotee then?
Okay, interesting question. So, if one is not on that level, and that level cannot be reached in any artificial way either, and one shouldn't even try to reach that level. That will come in due course of time, or not. So what happens to anyone else who is not on a spontaneous platform, or even, I mean, it's not just one moment. It's like not between day and night. This is a bad example because there's twilight. It's a gradual process. A gradual process. Not like when we switch on the light at night and immediately there is light. No, it's not like that. It's a gradual process. We're feeling drawn, first of all, to the pastimes in the spiritual world. Goloka pastimes, full of Krishna books. They're all Goloka pastimes, or Vrindavan pastimes. Let's put it like that. Hardly any difference. Vrindavan, earthly Vrindavan, or the Vrindavan in the spiritual world. Because this Vrindavan here on our earth planet, that is a replica of the spiritual world. So what happened before any spontaneous devotional service? Well, then it's service according to rules and regulations. And we are encouraged to do that. Our beginning of Krishna consciousness is according to rules and regulations. Everything is ruled by Guru, by scripture, every prescribed things, what we should do, and no cranes on Ekadashi, and chanting 16 rounds, and wonderful regulative principles, and so many other scriptural. So this is our guiding light for a long, long time. And we should engage in that. And then in due course of time, we're developing some spontaneous attraction to Krishna. then our motivation changes. Our activities don't change. It's not that now I'm practicing Raganuga Bhakti, I don't have to chant anymore, I don't have to follow the principles. No, nothing of that sort. Externally, everything stays exactly the same. What is changing is our motivation. Previously, our motivation was in fear that we don't transgress scriptural principles, we don't transgress the orders of the spiritual master. So it was guided by fear. Obedience, of course, also. But now, when we come to a more spontaneous attitude, our impetus, our motivation is out of love, and before love, at least attraction. Well, if we do everything what we do in devotional service, the chanting, the principles, everything, but we do it not out of fear because something bad will happen to us if I don't follow it, or I fall down, yes, which is all true. But then if we have a little bit of attraction, what to speak of love for Krishna, then our motivation is different. We are not, I mean, how can it? Let's take it all the way. The sakas in the spiritual world, and we meditating on, we're trying to follow in the footsteps of one resident of Vrindavan. Let's see, a Saka or a Gopi. So the Sakas in Golokas, they have no fear. There's no fear. They walked in the mouth of Akasura. Even some were saying, well, maybe it is a demon. He will swallow us. And someone else said, no. So what? Krishna is there. He will save us. If it's really a demon, Krishna will save us. They had no fear. They had no fear of Krishna either. They expressed themselves fully in their love for Krishna. They were saturated with love for Krishna. They could fully be themselves, fully express themselves. We can hardly imagine that. No fear. No reference either. Not, they never think of Krishna, oh my Lord. We may meditate on following in the footsteps of a resident of Vrindavan, but then when we're in danger, so what comes to our mind? Oh my Lord, help me. Oh my Lord. There's nothing wrong about that, but that's not the mood of the sakas. They never say, oh my Lord. That is completely absent. Of course, we may be in mixed moods, in a mood mixed with awe and reverence and friendship to Krishna. All that is possible, all in unlimited mixtures. But these sakas in Goloka, they have no mixture. It's pure Sakya ras, pure. Or Madhurya ras with the gopis, pure. Or Dasya ras. These are pure, or Vatsalya, whichever. These are pure moods of the inhabitants of Vrindavan. Because these we want to come to that eventually, after millions of lifetimes if needed. That's the highest goal of Krishna consciousness. So in the meantime, well, we are on the regulated, let's put it like that, regulated devotional service. We are on the regulated devotional service. That's our motivation, following the rules and regulations. And that regulated devotional service will gradually morph into a devotional service out of affection and love. Until we come to the stage of Krishna Prema, which is pure love. Then we're totally motivated by love. And everything before that is a mixture. Does that answer your question?
Oh, yeah.
Ritu and Prabhu, you have to say something to that topic?
No, Prabhu, what you have explained is like, it's complete. And yeah, as you mentioned, like initially, people might have a different, have a mixture of these, these feelings or mellows, where there is a mixture of awe and reverence, along with sometime spontaneous, spontaneous reciprocation with Krishna, or spontaneous attitude towards Krishna. But gradually, once they advance in Raga Nuga Bhakti, then this awe and reverence is replaced by complete, uh, you know,
Spontaneity.
spontaneous, the spontaneous feelings of the mellows, pure ones.
Yes, we have even here, we have spontaneous feelings. Sometimes in a really wonderful kirtan, we chanting very spontaneously and shouting out and Krishna, Krishna, and we feel very spontaneous. That's also a little bit of some, and whenever that happens, it makes us very, very, very happy. We are feeling some kind of ecstasy because the spontaneity of the heart comes out. It's very relishable, very, very wonderful. Whenever we are in a situation, in the right surroundings, and then some spontaneous chanting or some spontaneous mood will rise within us. So we take it a bit further than the spontaneous devotional services, and we cultivating that. And it's not only in certain situations. We want to have that spontaneity all the time. That's an underlying mood. We want to develop that underlying mood of spontaneous devotion. That's the highest goal, spontaneous devotion. Let's compare it to material example. The closest material example is the love of the mother for her small Lala, for her small child or daughter Lali. So it's not that the mother, and it's very, very spontaneous, it's part of her whole psyche and everything. The baby cries, the mother immediately will know what to do. It's not that, or let's say, mother by rules and regulations. That also happens to new mothers. I heard that. Say by rules and regulations, the baby cries. She has to take a book or a chart. Baby cries. Okay. A, wet diapers. B, hungry. C, not very comfortable. D, this and that. The tick list. What's wrong with the baby? It cries. But that is mostly any mother, by her natural feelings and loving affection for the child, she will instantaneously know what to do, how to comfort the child. Because that is spontaneous. This kind of spontaneity, that is wanted, not the rule book. But again, externally, nothing changes. The mother who follows a rule book and finds out what her little boy or girl, what's the problem when he or she cries, she will do the same thing. We change the diapers. She will feed the baby. And the mother in spontaneous love, she will also do. Change the diapers, feed the baby. So externally, one cannot even see. It's impossible to see if someone is acting on a spontaneous platform or if someone is on the platform of regulated, rule-based devotional service. One cannot see that. One doesn't have to see. It's a matter of the heart. Of course, when one is in an association of devotees who are on a spontaneous platform, one will feel something authentic and special. So, okay, anything else? We're running already. Oh, wow, the time is passing by quick tonight. All of that, I want to say that because I read something today. All of that, because we spoke about the Brahman, these levels of devotion can only be achieved through Krishna consciousness. That's important, not through impersonal, intellectual speculation. Today I was reading something very interesting. What has come to light in the latest revelation of the Epstein files. I'm sure you're all conversant what this pedophile Epstein, what has come to light. And you heard the name of Deepak Chopra. Ben, you heard that name before? I think you spoke about him.
Yes, Prabhu, I've heard of Deepak Chopra.
Yes, I'm sure everybody here. He's a big impersonalist, Advaitavada. So it has come, who basically is a New Age guru with his impersonal Advaita philosophy. He has been mentioned in the Epstein files, and he has written a letter to Epstein. God is a construct. Cute girls are real. Wow, I thought, wow, that's a strong statement. Very, very embarrassing to be a New Age guru and to say God is a construct. We wouldn't even think. He couldn't say that because the impersonal philosophy is saying God is a construct. God is not real. Brahman, the all-pervading energy, that's real, but God is a construct. Okay, forgiven for that one, from that background where he comes from, Advaitavada. But cute girls are real. That is very sensual statement, and it just proves a point. This impersonal philosophy, it cannot purify our heart. That's the point, and Srila Prabhupada says that too. This impersonal philosophy is just on the mental and intellectual level. So many nice and complicated words in Mr. Chopra's writings, so many books, such a famous person. But still, after all of that, what he preaches, and sense control and all of that, still he has his lusty desires in his heart. Cute girls are real. God is not real. So all credibility has gone, if he had any. For devotees, he doesn't have credibility because he's an impersonalist. An impersonalist means basically an atheist. Atheist. So I thought that was significant. More will come out in these files, millions of pages. And all the top layers of society, they all have been involved in one way or another. So Krishna consciousness is very, very rare. It is based on the heart philosophy, the way of the heart. So it's not surprisingly that devotees, we follow our heart. And why we follow our heart? Because Krishna is in the heart. So we follow Krishna in the heart. And he will guide us through everything, up to the highest stages of devotion service, in this life or in the next. Any more questions? Questions.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Amrita Radhe Madaji, Hare Krishna. Nice to hear your voice.
Yes, just one thing, Prabhu. I think, in Bhagavad Gītā introduction, Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna is supreme consciousness. He's conscious of our own consciousness. So we can't really pretend, we can't pretend to be devotees. Sorry, we can't pretend to be devotees, I think, and we cannot pretend to be believers because Krishna already knows what's in our heart, and therefore I believe he drives those who are just faking to be believers or faking to be so-called gurus, and drives them into a very deep dark world of Maya, in Tamogun, from the incident that you are quoting.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important that whatever service we are rendering, we should render with genuine, with a lot of genuine service attitude. So I think honesty and humility are therefore very important for us to realize God. Otherwise, it's, as he said, it will all feel like just a construct. Is that correct understanding?
Yes, beautiful. Yes. Humility and tolerance, trinata pichunichena, amanina manadina. These are the keys of staying humble. Even if we are an author of hundreds of books, or if we have gained some fame or some wealth or some beauty, it doesn't matter. We have to stay very, very humble. And Ben's point of being the size of a tip of a hair split in 10,000 parts, that says us. So that's a very humble, tiny, insignificant position. If we can maintain that, then the whole spiritual world will be at our feet. Our progress will be tremendous. Yes, and Krishna, he says, those offenders, particular Mayavadi offenders who denote Krishna, he has no hands, no legs, he's dumb, deaf, and blind, and these are offenders. I cast them into perpetually in the darkest region of ignorance. So that is what you're just saying. They will bounce down to the darkest region of ignorance, which could be explained as a lower planetary system, which could be explained as just completely tamagun or going into the animal species of life. But a devotee, even devotee means devoted bhakti in the heart to Krishna. There is no bhakti to Brahman. One cannot say. Someone said to me some time ago, I'm a devotee of Brahman. That's contradictory. Devotee means of Krishna. You cannot be a devotee of Brahman. Yes, you may study Brahman intellectually and even come to Brahman realization, realizing that everything is Brahman in that sense. But devotee means a devotee of the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. And if someone goes on the side of the Mayavadi offenders, then their future will be not very bright. And as I said before, this impersonalism is almost like, or it is like atheism. Atheism. Because God is a construct. If we say that, God is a construct. So that's an atheist statement. It's not real. God is not real. It's just a human construct. Just we building something in our mind of God to suit our psyche or whatever. So of course that is not the fact. Anyone who is factual experience of Krishna will say, no, Krishna is not a construct. What are you talking about? And you think Krishna is a construct. How will your material desires ever be purified? And then you talk some rubbish. Cute girls are real. That's a result of not getting purified. But if you engage in devotional service, your heart will get purified, slowly, but it will get purified. Definitely, bit by bit. Ben, anything else you want to add?
No.
Well, it's kind of brought up another question, but I think maybe it might take too long to answer it.
No, bring it up.
No, because You talk about the Mayavadis,
Yes.
but they're of a particular idea and belief. But impersonalists, they're different from Mayavadis
Yes.
in a sense, because there is in one of Prabhupada's purports, forget what chapter it is now, but he says, practically speaking, there is no difference between the personalist and the impersonalist.
Yes.
It's just that they're on a lower level of realization. They're only realizing the first feature, and they're on the first rung in the ladder, in a sense. So there's no issue really with impersonalists. They're still transcendentalists, and they're still interested in trying to understand what is God, and they're in search of knowledge. So like one of the four described in chapter 7, those in pursuit of knowledge, the inquisitive, etc.
The Gyanis, right? Yes.
Yeah, but the difference between them and what is the Maya, what's the difference between the impersonalist and the Mayavadi then?
The
I
impersonalists
know you gave the example earlier about they're saying that that God he doesn't have a personal form or like that. I just wonder if you could just clarify that point a little bit for me.
Yes, the Mayavadis are offenders because they're directly opposing Krishna, like saying God is a constructor. That's an atheistic statement. And the Mayavadis, God cannot see, cannot walk, cannot talk, cannot hear, dumb, deaf, and blind. So that makes one an offender. Krishna is a manifestation of Maya. Therefore, they're called Mayavadis. The impersonalists will not say that. They just adore the impersonal feature of God, the Brahmin feature. They're taken in by the Brahmin feature, and in due course of time, as Krishna explains, after many birth and death, those who searching after the absolute truth, initially searching, not expecting the personal form of God, expecting the Brahman feature, after absolute truth, after many births and deaths, they will come to the realization, I have been looking actually for Krishna. Krishna is the ultimate reality. They become devotees. Therefore, they are dear to Krishna, more dearer than the other three categories. So they have all the potential, even so, but after many births and deaths, Krishna says. Yeyatamam prapatyanti. So there is a difference. They're not offenders. They're just realizing the Brahman feature of the Lord. And there is no difference, yes. Krishna is complete. It's just even, I wouldn't say a lower level of realization. I don't think Prabhupada is using that. Prabhupada is using the term is a partial realization. Right? Like the train example. People realizing the train partially. They only see the lights. They only see the lights and the form. Or they see the whole train with all the activities. So the Brahmin feature is a partial realization of the Lord. So if you carry on, and you will eventually discover the other parts. You must discover the other parts. Latest, as Srila Prabhupada says in the Gita purport, until they meet a pure devotee. When they're coming in contact with Srila Prabhupada's writings, then everything gets cleared out. Then the whole idea of Brahman, and not idea, of realization of Brahman, then they get the other 2/3 of the picture. Oh, there is more. There's Paramatma, there's Bhagavan. Right away, everywhere, in every page of Bhagavad Gītā, explained. or they come in contact with a pure devotee. This philosophy is not explained by anyone else. Does that answer your question, Ben? In short?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we have to really stop now. Or you have anything, Amit?
No, Prabhu, no questions.
Well, we had a lot of interesting answers and questions tonight. Thank you very much. See you on Saturday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Join the Bhakti podcast with deep insights into all matters spiritual. Like and subscribe to keep up to date with your inner self.